Hello Wolfpack, we're back here on Bitcoin. We've got some interesting things to look at today. And before I start the video, I want to go ahead and say I'm doing a live stream, a crypto analysis live stream in which you can ask me questions about which altcoins you want me to look at, what you want me to look at on Bitcoin, what you want me to look at in general, and I'll look at everything and I'll answer some of your questions there. And then I'll also get into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and just the same old. But if you want to join in that live stream, if you've got a question for me that you've been wanting to asking for a long time, I haven't got back to you, go ahead and join up there. And that's going to be at 9 a.m. AEDT. So 9 a.m. AEDT, I think in New York time, Eastern Standard Time, that's about 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. I can't remember. But the point is, that's what time it's going to be going on, 9 a.m. AEDT. So go ahead and use your time zone converter and I'll catch you there live. But as for this video, just a quick little update here. Not really too much to talk about in the market today, so I'm only doing one video today, but I do have a few new things I want to bring up. Now, most of you would know that we're in a downwards trend on Bitcoin. Most of you would know what my prediction is for Bitcoin in general. My prediction for Bitcoin is general, and as I've been saying for literally months, a couple of months now, since the low 60k region, I think we're heading down to this green line here, which is for 200-week SMA. That's currently sitting at 19.4k. By the time we get there, it will be in the low to mid 20k region. So I don't think we'll retest previous all-time highs. I think if we do it, it will be on a wick. I don't think we'll see sustained retests of the previous all-time highs. I think we'll come down to the around the 24, 22k region, somewhere there, and retest that 200-week SMA, depending on where it is. Now, as for time frame is very flexible. I think a lot of the cyclical theory that I've looked at points to November, but a lot of what's happening in the stock market, financial markets, traditional markets right now would point to much sooner than that. And so the time frame, it's completely flexible. It doesn't really matter. The point is, the target is for 200 week, and unless we break back over 48k, which is this line that I'm going to make thick here, 48k. Unless we break back over that, that's what I'm going to be targeting, the 200 week SMA. So 48k is a critical breaker on Bitcoin. The reason being is because every single major thing on the daily chart is heading towards 48k, and by the time we get there, getting over 48k, we'll be flipping every single thing on that daily chart, including, and most importantly here, the volume profile. The volume profile is showing the point of control at 47k, and so flipping 48k would flip the volume profile, which means the vast majority of support will be below us. Now, Bitcoin has made an interesting move in the past couple of days. Okay, and it's moved up from around 33k. It's had a big wick up and it's come up all the way to around 38, and that is a move of almost 20%, about 15%. And so some people would say, wow, that's a good move. Really good to see Bitcoin reacting like that. Well, it's inevitable, right? I mean, we dropped in one day from 40k all the way down to 35k, and so a move back up to 38 isn't very special. What I would say is that something significant that's happened during this move is the fact that on the daily chart, we've regained this uptrending red line, which is great to see. And we've entered the descending wedge once again, which is this yellow descending wedge. We've entered that once again, and this could be labeled as a fake out now. So that's good. As for volume, too early to say whether this move will be sustained by volume, but it looks as though we might see low volume on this daily candle, which is unfortunate. It is worth noting, however, that the Federal Reserve is holding a meeting regarding interest rates today and tomorrow, and so we will see some reaction from the market, some volatility there. However, the Federal Reserve has previously said that they won't be hiring interest rates or raising interest rates until March. They have a meeting in mid-March, but it is interesting to see because that's not a confirmation, right? They might raise them right now. They might keep them the same, and the market will react to that inevitably. And if we do see an upside reaction, that wouldn't be unexpected at all. We've obviously got resistance at 40k, we've got resistance at 43k, 45.5k, and obviously 48k, and 48k is the critical break. If we break above that point, we are pretty much good to go. You could even argue that 53k is the critical breaker, but let's just cross that bridge when we get there. It's a bit far away to think about that kind of thing now. But what would be logical here for Bitcoin, and just looking at some of the longer term time frames, like this time frame here, the daily chart on a different perspective, which is a descending channel, a swing back up to 40k right now for a retest would make sense, and that very well could come from these Federal Reserve meetings, from the bullish momentum that's caused by that. And so, look, it wouldn't be surprising at all to see a swing back up to the upside, a retest to the top of the channel at 40k. As soon as we start breaking above 40k, that's when it becomes interesting. That's when it becomes something actually happening here. So we have two scenarios here that we've gone over, one of which is being the yellow scenario, in which we just keep grinding downwards until we bottom out on the 200, okay, and that will happen probably around March, mid-March. And then the other scenario is we break out to the upside and reject off of 48k due to the Federal Reserve talking about interest rates in mid-March. And then when the interest rates are risen, we will see a negative reaction from the markets and drop downwards. Now, obviously, there is a slight chance that, well, not a slight, it's actually a considerable chance that the Federal Reserve could choose to not raise the interest rates, in effect, basically, damaging the long-term future of the USD even more, and basically, destroying the long-term, viability of the US economy. And there is a chance they could do that for political reasons in terms of getting back in power, because they don't want to be the person causing a massive market correction, because obviously if they raise the rates, the market will correct. And so it could be a political game in which they keep interest rates the same, and then we could actually see a positive reaction from the markets and break above 48k. That's not the likely scenario right now, and that's not what TS suggests. That's merely just speculation, and so we're not going to be looking into that too deeply at this point. But as for the hourly chart, you can see we've come up on resistance right now. We're currently testing that quite extensively. And until we break above this yellow resistance line, there's a severe chance that we could actually just correct back down below this red line here and crash below 36k once again. And so that's very possible. And also considering we're coming up on the 9 EMA and rejecting off of that right now as well. Look, I would say that the short term is pretty much a flip of the coin. I'd say it actually leans more towards being bearish. But given that, with that said, we probably do need to be seeing a bounce back up to 40k at some point, and that will probably be fueled by these Federal Reserve meetings. And I think that the TA, like I've just pointed out here, this resistance line will be neglected a little bit in the next couple of days as we get kind of hype buying in and kind of news-driven buy-ins from these world events that's going on right now. So could very well see a reaction and retest to 40k. Could even go higher. Could even retest 43k. Could even retest 45.5k. Doesn't really matter though. I don't really care. I know what the long-term trend is, and I'm going to be sticking by that trend until I'm proven otherwise. And so that's what we're going to be doing for Bitcoin. Now, the monthly chart I want to bring up. I never really bring this up. But what I want to say on the monthly chart is we're seeing a bearish MACD cross. The monthly candle closes in 5 days. And if we do see a negative close, which we probably will unless we come back up to 46k, we're going to see a bearish MACD cross on the monthly chart. Now, the monthly chart obviously is something you need to take with a grain of salt. Zooming out to longer time frames is good, especially the weekly chart and the daily chart, but the monthly chart seems to be too long of a time frame to the point where some of the indicators that play out there tend to be kind of irrelevant. But we did see a monthly cross here in June 2018, and we dropped down about 50% of valuation into the bottom from that point. And so a monthly cross is by no means good news. It's just something we need to be taken with a grain of salt. However, on the weekly chart, we can speak a little bit more negatively about Bitcoin, although some people won't like that. We have the Gaussian channel here on the weekly chart that's bringing up, and we've actually closed our first weekly candle below the center line of the Gaussian channel. Historically, every time we've done this minus the COVID crash, because that is a black swan event that doesn't have any kind of existence in reality, I guess you could say, in terms of natural price action. It wouldn't have happened if it wasn't a black swan event, and so we can't really count that. But as for previous markets here, we've only ever done this when we enter a bear market. So dropping below the center line of the Gaussian channel has only ever happened when we're in a bear market, and that happened in 2014, it also happened in 2018, and it's just happened right now. We've never dropped below this Gaussian channel without hitting a bear market bottom. If we drop below it, we go to the bear market bottom. And the bear market bottom historically, by the way, has always, on both of these occasions, been on the 200-week SMA. And so that's what you need to be considering there for Bitcoin. The 200-week SMA is quite clearly the next target on a long-term scale. As for the Ichimoku cloud, and you'll notice this as well, there's a trend happening in here. We've dropped below the Ichimoku cloud, closed a weekly candle below it. Historically, when this has happened as well, we enter a bear market bottom, except for the COVID crash, okay? So there's multiple things we need to be looking at on Bitcoin here. And a lot of these things we're going to be covering in the live stream tomorrow at 9 a.m. AEDT. Go ahead and join me up there and ask me your questions about the market. But this is just a quick little update to tell you that, hey, yeah, we're seeing a rally right now, and that rally may or may not be sustained. If natural price action has anything to say about it, it won't be sustained. But in terms of what's happening with the Federal Reserve meetings today, very, very hard to tell. We could quite easily see a swing to the upside and retest to 40k. But ultimately, nothing looks good in the market right now. Really, nothing has changed. And we'll catch you in the next video, and we'll catch you in the live stream tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.